because we don't want to go into liftoff, because right now we're building the casement, building our case or casement, and it's about, we're compressing rocket fuel for potential force potential for like a liftoff, and we don't want to be in the place of doubt or confusion and have a short liftoff and come back into this narrative. We're looking to move beyond the dimensions, to go through the ethereal realm of where the astral realm, and there's another dimension that's waiting for us beyond that in the creator realm. And we're giving the opportunity to move into that right now, at least build the force potential to move into that. Yeah, Daryl?
Yeah. Just to connect with something you were saying earlier. But first, Carrie, I totally resonate with what you were saying about stepping into this next dimensional thing that we're into now. But one of the things that keeps coming up is, and I guess it's always going to be like this, I suppose, until everything's finalized, but is neutrality, like y'all been teaching on, neutral. And so Spirit's just been challenging me, because I had no idea how profound of an idea it would be to sit in a position of observance of the world going on around you. I mean, our whole lives we've been doing nothing but engaging with the stimuli around us, thinking that we're like a piece of all that going on, when in actuality it's all happening because of how we choose to interact. And now we're in a place where we need to just observe it, so that we're not being reactionary, and so instead we're supposed to be responsive to what Spirit is saying on the inside, instead of reacting to what is being done on the outside. That's the test of maturity in our process. But this neutrality, sometimes it's just hard to get your head around, because like what you were saying, Ken, the world is coming from the template. Everybody's looking for a savior. They're looking for somebody to do what they're not willing to do themselves. And that precedence is totally exemplified in the New Testament. Christianity has taught us forever that there's going to be a coming king on a white horse who's going to bum rush the earth with 1 billion angels, and he's going to vindicate us by destroying our enemies, and all that. And so whatever position people are in from the third dimensional mentality, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for this masculine Messiah. And so in my observances from day to day, I have to keep that in mind, and that actually helps me with the whole neutrality aspect. But what the Spirit challenges me in asking me, what are you doing to become instead of being the Malachim, the ones looking for that masculine king, what are you doing? What was Asherim? Is that the word that you used?
Asherim.
What are you doing to be the Asher? Yes. So Spirit's saying, what are you doing to become the Asherim, where you're looking to form the Queendom inside of you to completion, so that you're not looking, because the truth of it is, it's like the Nag Hammadi says, there will be one group that is called the kingless generation. Well, if the queen is established in you and you are the Asherim, you don't need a king, because you have learned to master yourself. You become the king of your own kingdom. And I think that's what is blowing my mind, because as I watch even my own family, it's bizarre. It's like I'm watching them do their thing, but I'm not really a part of that now. And I feel sad in one side of it, but on the other side of it, I feel relieved. And I know that there's coming more and more and more of a disconnect from all that, and sometimes it feels a little invasive, but that's only because of the things that I struggle with within myself. But but my main concern now is to embrace the queendom within myself, and it keeps me focused. It keeps me, even though every day's different, it keeps me going in a direction that I don't have to worry about not getting to the destination. I just have to do the work in between. And so I hope that says something to someone. But
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate. Yeah. You're 100% right that there is a responsibility on this that has to be connected. There's no easy way around this, So I'm trying to bring right now is the measure of Emmanuel, Mashiach, Messiah, the Mahdi. They're all the same thing. The Mahdi is directly connected to Michael, and that's what it keeps on coming when I'm visit with Mahdi. It means the who that has entered the door, right, of power. And so, but it keeps on echoing, that just kind of calibrating me to see where I am with this frequency, per se. So anyways, that's where I am right now. That's what I'm doing, is having me revisit myself and to say, connect with this, because now you can create that perspective. We don't have to worry about the insecurity now. We hopefully work through those fractals, and you can if for goodness sakes, it's your name, accept it, right? And just know that. And so I'm thankful for that. But yeah, the way of the Asherim is huge when we see what it is, because that's the missing stone. That's directly connected to the missing stone. It's joy, but it's a frequency that's connected to the tribe of Asher. But I know Carrie would want to share with this, so you can raise whatever you want to raise there.
So I was going to add with what you were sharing, Daryl, about being focused and aware of the queendom. But I am going to throw something else in there for you to consider, because it is important for us to address that feminine energy that was removed from us. The mother of all living, Chava, was removed out of mankind. But when we get to the fullness of where we need to be, we become the Malakah. And I know I've shared this before. And Malakah is the combination of the Mem Lamed Kaf, which is king, with the Mem Lamed Kaf Aleph, which is the queen, that have been united within. You see that? So it literally is, it's the masculine and the feminine, the king and the queen, that have been united on the inside. And again, with this being in the central letter, we know that is directly connected to the heart. This is the word for angel. This is the word for messenger. And it means a prophet. It also means a priest or priestess and a teacher. So this is, meditating upon the queendom. Really, the kingdom and the queendom are one. And the solidification of that is to be an angel, to be a messenger of the message of unity, where there's no longer a division between king and queen. They have been fully united in intimacy through the unification coming at the heart level. So they're not warring against each other. It's like in the natural realm, if the king was given the title as king, the queen would be the consort, but the queen really didn't have a lot of authority. And it's kind of funny because it's just the way it was. Or if you take a look at where in England, the Queen of England was given the title because of bloodline, but her husband didn't. And so there was that warring of, well, who's wearing the real crown of authority, which was automatically causing division. And now we're seeing that it matters not, because both are crowned within. That's what actually lights up our crown chakra when we unify both of those energies, so that the toroidal field reverse spin can then begin to activate through us. So I just wanted to bring that out to say, yes, we need to focus on the queendom, that aspect, but then we have to merge the two together, so that this is the fullness of our becoming. That the Elohim, and I can show a verse on that. I think it's Psalm 84. The Elohim, it says that you were created lower than the angels. Well, that's because, and it literally is mentioning the Elohim, is because the reason why we were created lower than the angels is because we were missing the piece of uniting the two together. in duality, eating of the tree of good and evil, which split us apart into these two different frequencies that have been warring against each other instead of coming together and uniting.
To reach this level is breaking through the astral realm and moving into the creator realm. Because there still will be, that's solely dependent on our ability, our own due diligence of knowing what we are as a potential. That's a thought process.
Well, and that astral realm is where all the thought forms, the egregores are.
So there's some that if people even move from this realm into the astral realm, this will still be a dimension over them. This will be the queendom or kingdom or a dimension of one realm that will still be assisting the realm of the astral realm.
The astral realm actually links the two, but in some way is a barrier.
Right, it's a barrier.
Because that's where all the thought forms are.
Right, it keeps the
which
thought.
Isn't really real,
right.
But is part of the experience because we created it.
Right.
Information.
This would be complete neutral.
Yes.
This would be complete neutralized, and then the astral realm would still be more ethereal, but there still would be more thought process still activating. It's more like a wrestle of thought before it's manifested in the lower realm, which would be the reality. And so that's what I'm trying to say is this force potential right now, we're gathering force potential to see, because we're going to kick ourselves out. The ship will only go so far. And then by our blood frequency as an amendment, we've already signed ourselves as a declaration, as a witness, as constitution, because we're responsible for the constitution of ourselves, how we've come together, and that will bring us into whatever measure it's organic within us.
So the other portion of this word that I circled or boxed, I didn't circle. No, your geometry, your geometrical shapes.
Square.
It's more like a rectangle. Okay. This is mala, and this means to be filled. But when we break this apart, there's a couple things that I want you guys to see in how do we unify this. The first two letters is literally the word. It means the word. So so for you guys to connect to this in English, that Yeshu was the word made flesh, Mem Lamed. So this is like, you want to say living water, mighty, blood, and then instruction. But really, this is the inspired word that comes through the living waters that is actually coming from Source Creator. And when we see it written, that is what the sacred writings are trying to communicate to us. So the Malakah are filled with the word so that they can manifest the absolute. Now, what's very unique in why I box this off, Mem Aleph is a finalized form of answering a question, which is Ma, which is the beginning of Machiel or Michael, right, who is like God.
Yep.
And instead of the hey, it shifts to the Aleph. So there's literally a question within this word of saying, who are the angels? They are those who have filled themselves with the word, having become absolute on the inside, that have grasped the power of the essence of the unseen. They are the messengers. They are the priests. They are the teachers. They are the prophets, because they instruct and teach in the way of oneness here. So the word angel has so much information to it for us to understand that this is really the answer to the question of who are angels. And it's been misrepresented, especially within the Christian Bible, through those interpretations. And we've had many people that have had artistic renderings of what the angels are. And really, it's us. It's us. We're the messengers. We have densified, so we're in this physical flesh form. But this is who we are, who we forgot who we were, and into the coming of being in unifying those energies once again as the king and the queen that have come together in intimacy.
Can I share something?
Yeah, because then I'm going to shift gears.
Because I think this is great.
To Asherah.
Okay, cool. Because I wasn't going to share the level on Michael, but because Michael's in this, you just can't see him, because it's when she said that the mem and the aleph would be the measure of Ma, It's actually, that's the full form of Ma, because Michael is made up of actually 3 words, Ma, Ki, El. Ma,
So it would be Mem, Hey.
Mem, Hey, Kaf, Yod,
and then
Aleph, Med. Okay, so that's Michael. And now this is important because I think I was sharing in the Patreon account like yesterday, and I had to wrestle where I was, and it always distracts me because the visitation came just before the meeting, and it's going like, we need to connect with this. You need to share this, or at least you need to know this, Ken. And I just share in my overflow. It's just that's all we do. But I spent a long time since this entity visited me again, and I always welcome it. And so when Carrie said that the Ma is the question, and it means what and who, but it's actually what it's more, because this isn't fulfilled. This
What,
is
who, and how.
right.
What, who, and how.
What, who, and how is, and this key is also branding. It means fire branded, or who can grasp this? Who can grasp this measure? It's a question asking you. But if that moves to the olive, then it becomes the answer. So it's actually asking a question, but if the olive is placed there in this measure, this is the fulfillment as the answer. Who is this? Who is this? This is this. Soon as you put the olive there,
exactly.
It's equating that the question and the answer live in the exact same space. And anytime we see a hey, remember, if you're in the language, that the hey is always waiting for the fulfillment of the olive. It is simply a placeholder that to say this is going to be revealed or revealed to you, but I'm waiting for the olive to fill the space.
So if you hear us say anything about the spirit breath, it's kind of like a shortened term for the hay and the olive, because in the hidden side of it, the hay is the exhale, the olive is the inhale. So the hay and the olive are the spirit breath.
Right.
They're always meant to reveal something in order to bring something in, which is a greater representation of the olive, which is AKA God, spirit, which is love.
So
it's a greater revealing of measures of love.
So I should, yeah. And this is actually interesting.
As an absolute and not just an emotional response, but as absolute.
And the reason I wanted to share that we have to ask ourselves a really good question before we can respond as the answer, right? This is our responsibility, is to know the accounts of what is required of us. This is law language. And so if we see this, and this is what I would never miss an opportunity to share this potential, because now that we know that anytime you see a hey, you can simply see a greater perspective to know, like, wow, this is seeking this. And it's really asking, what are you looking at? What is this revelation? What is it revealing to you? Ask a question of yourself. And if you do it gentleness and kindness and in grace and in pureness, I will show you the measure of completion within you. And how it happens, so we can equate this, it's not the head. By asking the question of the heart being tenderized, and we process it through the head, because the head's not on any one of us yet in full totality yet. It's waiting to be placed on the governing shoulders. That's what's coming in. This is the anointing that's coming in. And it's allowing us to express ourselves in gentleness so we can resonate to the frequency to speak the question into this construct, to connect it as material. And what does that do? It will present us, because it will build the construct maybe in a day, and we're getting compressed right now, so it can present itself very shortly and give you the opportunity to experience this. And it will show you in whatever is close proximity to you. That's why we're saying paying attention right now, because if we ask ourselves a good question to say, what is this measure right here of being completely full in the resonance of one, that I'm grasping this, I've tamed what is necessary to become the measure of one.
And sealing in the absoluteness
I'm
of it.
Completely wet, as neuro-laced, as hemi-synced together. I'm now one result. What is this? Well, if I ask the question correctly, it will always present itself as an encounter outside of my walls, or in the presence of wherever I am. My wife will come to me and give me an opportunity to encounter her. And I'm solely responsible for how I interact with her and how I'm seeing it, because it will present itself in questions. She might do something and I have to respond in a certain way, right, wrong, indifferent, but a scene where I am in my balance of neutrality, because that's neutral.
Sorry, Malakha is neutral.
Yeah, Malakha is neutral.
Malakha.
So it'll give us the opportunity to say, are you going to be out of sync? Is the Asherine pole, is it upright? or are you skewed a little bit because I'm directly above you, and are you casting a shadow? And I will give you the opportunity to know the way of the Asherim is the return of upright and straight.